Welcome back to the Kaspa Silver YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing the video titled The Dark Side of Kaspa Warning by No BS Crypto. He has a couple points here trying to point out the dark side of Kaspa, and I have a document here kind of debunking each of the points, hopefully to the best of my ability. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this video.
Make any assumptions and let's begin. So Kaspa is currently a meme.
All right, let's stop right there. So Kaspa is currently a meme, an idea, but a beautiful one. So honestly, I don't understand how the first point you can start with is Kaspa is a meme, but just has like a beautiful idea. I really don't get that unless it's totally on purpose or you just haven't done any types of research. But just to debunk this so that people can understand, let's take a look at a real meme coin today in the market. Because if you go to CoinMarketCap and you look at, the tags over here, I'm gonna move this here. You see it's tagged right here, Shiba Inu. It's tagged with the meme tag. And not only that, it usually has an Ethereum contract because it's an Ethereum token. And then like if you look at the supply and stuff like that, 50% is given to an Ethereum co-founder here, Vitalik Buterin. So this is a meme coin right here. You can even search here, control find on this page here, and you can see this meme coin quickly gains speed and value. You can also say bringing the meme, the dog token, into the spotlight again. I mean, it's all based on a dog. And not only that, there's a wonderful supply of about 589 trillion Shiba Inu coins, tokens, I mean. So that's really nice. And then let's take a look at like the white paper for something like a meme coin. So you got Shiba Inu ecosystem, the wolf paper. And if we go down there, it's just a lot of talk about different things that they're going to do on the Ethereum network that has like insanely high fees. And also, if you keep just going down, it's just explaining all the different things that they're adding, like dig leash. Moreover, to encourage leash liquidity, the leash token puppy pool gathers 0.1% of all WBTC swap transactions and 0.1% of all USDC swap transactions. So you got dig, leash ETH pool, you get leash ETH, the migrate staking, the 33% of the bone will be available for withdrawal anytime. Yeah. So this is a meme coin. And so let's actually compare this to Kaspa over here. So to start, I got like about four different white papers that Kaspa can be correlated to. And this is because, if you don't already know, the founder of Kaspa is called Jonathan Somplinsky. And if you go to the Ethereum white paper, he's actually quoted in the Ethereum white paper for the Ghost implementation, because this is a white paper that Jonathan made to try to increase transaction processing for Bitcoin. But Ethereum decided to use some of his work to actually make Ethereum work and do what it does today. So this, goes all the way back to that original white paper that came out in 2013 for Bitcoin here. And then also we can take a look at a few other white papers that came out over the years by the same person, Jonathan Somplinsky right here. Shai also is behind this, in Aviv. Yeah, this is the Phantom Ghost Stag protocol. This is actually the protocol that Kaspa is using currently right now. And if I scroll through here, you could see that this white paper is a very serious white paper, and even has like a whole entire math proof section right here, especially with all these references. But here's like a ton of math proofing and stuff like that, which you normally don't see in a white paper. And I like to always say, if your white paper doesn't have any math in it, then it probably isn't a serious project if it just only has a tons of words and stuff like that. So this is the white paper that basically Kaspa is using right now to run the Phantom Ghost Stag protocol. And then there's also a future protocol that Kaspa is currently building called Dagnite. This is going to be in the future, which would basically make transactions be able to be processed instantly, similar to like maybe the Lightning Network, but all on the base layer without using layer 2s. You could see all this work here. So, but supposedly all of this work and the references that I just gave here from Jonathan being all the way back since 2013, Kaspa is just a meme coin. But we'll just move on to the second points of his videos and see what else he has to say. So another thing he also says is Kaspa community is one of the bigger cults in crypto, said by Kaspa influencer CM Kid, not me. And I don't understand why this is like a point, but in every single cryptocurrency project, there's going to be like very, very toxic, mean, nasty people that are just going to attack other people because there's different opinions. But a real cult actually like bans people and never wants to talk about contradictions or whatever. But Kaspa is completely opposite to that. The real investors, the real Kaspa holders that actually want to understand the technology and everything behind it are usually very open for discussion as long as it's respectful. If we were in some kind of cult, I wouldn't be making this video trying to address all the points that are given in this, because I'm here for the facts, and it's super important that we are getting the facts correctly, because we should have all the information about our investments. So now he's going to get into his actual concerns about Kaspa, and the first concern is, where does it sit within the layer 1 ecosystem? And he gives examples of a bunch of other proof of stake coins doing different things, and he does not know what Kaspa is setting out to do. Well, to be comparing Kaspa to all these other proof of stake coins just really isn't fair, because Kaspa is a proof of work, and ultimately what Kaspa is trying to set out to do is become money for the financial system and eventually introduce smart contracts, but built upon one of the best foundations or base layers in the whole entire world, because Kaspa is trying to build the best base layer for proof of work and basically become the standard for how proof of work should be built or thought about. Many people thought that proof of work can never be scaled, but Kaspa is proving this to be incredibly wrong, and all these other coins that are proof of stake simply are scaling, but through centralized methods, and ultimately are not as secured as proof of work can be. So really, Kaspa is fitting into a section in the crypto space that really no one has tapped into, because it's trying to be an actual currency and not another crypto company or anything like that. It's trying to actually be decentralized finance and be free money for anyone to use, completely leadership-less and completely fair, launched, and all that kind of fun stuff. That makes Kaspa very unique to everything else and actually gives it pretty much no competition. So the second concern that he brings up is incentives, and he's going to say, why would a developer want to build on Kaspa? Why would an enterprise choose to work with Kaspa? There are no development funds / grants. The tech is new, and therefore they aren't going to want to build on it since it's not tried and tested. So really, this is just not true that there are no development funds or grants. We can go over here to this point where I have no funds and grants, and I have about 3 different Kaspa addresses to show you guys exactly where there are funds kept away for development for Kaspa. So currently here we have the Rust Fund, which is changing the coding layer of Golang to become Rust for Kaspa. There's about $10 million in this for that kind of development funding. The next one is going to be for Dagnite, which is the future protocol that Kaspa is going to be implementing, because again, Kaspa is not focused on smart contracts right now, simply because it wants to build smart contracts on one of the best base layers in the whole entire crypto space. So to do that, you first need to build that base layer and make sure that it's built on a foundation that's not sand. So in the Dagnite protocol fund, you have another $9 million here. And then this other address is just like a normal development fund address. There's another $200,000 in there. And then, for example, he also was saying here, why would a developer want to build on Kaspa? Well, many reasons. Developers will always want to come to something that is new and innovative, and that's what Kaspa is doing. And then why would an enterprise choose to work with Kaspa? Well, we have yet to see that happen yet, because of course there's really nothing that Kaspa offers in the smart contract world at the moment, but that's not really important. We have been seeing major developments for Kaspa gaining adoption, and at first face value, Kaspa is money. It's trying to be an actual currency for the world, not just a smart contract layer. He also is going to say in this clip here that funding is going to be very difficult and hard because it's fair launch. So that's like a concern and whatnot. But just for example, people actually really believe in Kaspa. And recently there was a vote to fund the Ledger wallet development so that Kaspa can finally be on Ledger. And I kid you not, probably like within the next 30 minutes here, we had a collection goal of about $8,200 worth of Kaspa that we needed, and in like less than 30 minutes, that was funded instantly because people really want that to come. So this has been happening throughout Kaspa's history of funding. Every time something needs to be funded that's really important, it usually gets done. And I'm pretty sure that this will continue moving forward. And this is just because of the tons of fundamentals that Kaspa holds that makes a lot of crypto enthusiasts believe in the technology and what Kaspa has to offer in the future. So it's very easy to come by funding. And you can learn about the tons of fundamentals Kaspa holds by just checking out my YouTube channel and the different videos I have. So the third point he's going to talk about is the ESG narrative that he's concerned about. And I've actually talked about this in the past, one of my older videos entitled, "Isn't Kaspa Being Proof of Work Bad for the Environment?" And simply put, in that video, I showcase a article or a PDF document of people talking in this company about Bitcoin and the ESG narrative and all that kind of stuff. And they were actually showcasing Bitcoin in a positive light. I ultimately believe that the facts are not there, that ESG is such a concern, mainly because BlackRock is now filing for an ETF for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin itself has always been viewed as this like ESG problem. It's bad for climate change or whatever. But if it really was, I'm pretty sure something like BlackRock would not be filing for an ETF for Bitcoin if it's that bad for the environment. And BlackRock has a lot of weight in the whole entire financial industry because, you know, they manage around 9.4 trillion US dollars. You see BlackRock is filing for a Bitcoin ETF here. BlackRock wanting to list Bitcoin for an ETF is showing that this whole ESG narrative is pretty much coming to an end. And even the CEO, Larry Fink, has came out and said that that narrative that he was holding with ESG is pretty much coming to a close. And I even described that in that video here as well. Not only that, Kaspa, when we're looking at Kaspa, it is more energy efficient than Bitcoin. And this is simply because Kaspa does not orphan blocks like Bitcoin does. So that means Bitcoin has unnecessary energy that it uses because it does orphan blocks. When blocks are orphaned in a cryptocurrency network, that means that any energy that was used to make that block that got orphaned was completely wasted. You could see here in Kaspa, it looks more like a DAG, and really what's going on here is no blocks are being orphaned, and in fact, all blocks are being used for the network. So this actually decreases how much energy consumption it wastes. And then also, Kaspa is optimized for optimal proof of work, which allows the energy to be more efficient for it. And then not only that, it also has ASIC mining, which ASIC mining is actually better for energy efficiency than GPU mining. So ultimately, I don't think the facts are there to just be worried about the ESG narrative, especially when Bitcoin is still number one. And if this energy narrative was such a big deal, I feel like Bitcoin would not stay number one anymore. BlackRock would not be filing for an ETF and all those kind of things. So really, I just don't think the facts are there for being concerned about the ESG narrative. And I really recommend you take a look at the video I made talking about, is proof of work bad for the environment? The fourth point he's going to bring up is centralization that he's concerned about with Kaspa. And this is basically just because of the myth that he thinks that if something is ASIC mining, if it's not ASIC resistant, that means centralization is going to be an ultimate problem. It's centralized, it's bad. And he's going to give the example of Bitcoin with its mining pools, showcasing that AMP pool and Foundry USA pool. They currently both contain about 54% of all the hashing power is going to those two pools. And he's saying that, you know, Bitcoin is centralized because of this. But really, this is not true, because from the way I've seen it in my research, there's no such thing as pool centralization, because miners choose to which pool they want to mine to get the rewards. So that means if one of these pools become malicious, which has happened in the past where mining pools become malicious, they simply just switch to another pool. Another thing is saying that this is centralization is assuming that Foundry USA and Antpool, which is a Chinese-owned mining pool, are going to come together to collude to attack the Bitcoin network, which most likely won't even be financially reasonable to do something like that. But nonetheless, it's assuming that America and China are going to agree. The many things that they probably don't agree on, they're somehow just going to come to an agreement to let's just both attack Bitcoin together, and it probably won't even be financially reasonable to do something like that. But yeah, doesn't make really any sense to me to be worried about the pool centralization, because mining rigs are they're scattered across the whole entire world. So there's only such thing as mining centralization. This would be a problem if all the mining rigs are like in one country or in one building, but we know and we can pretty much assume that mining machines get scattered across the whole entire world, and that's going to be the same effect for Kaspa. And if we're looking at Kaspa, actually its pools are a lot more decentralized here than Bitcoin's, and we can actually take a look at that over here. So over here, here's the block distribution for Kaspa, and from what other people have told me, that mining pool has not been as accurate with all the pools that actually exist for Kaspa, but nonetheless, there's a lot more pool distribution here, and this single pool here that has about 65% of the unknown blocks, this means that this is solo mining and it's not going to an actual centralized pool. This is a solo miner, so a miner that's running their own solo node to mine to it, which actually increases decentralization. He also doesn't explain the fact that Kaspa is not going to stay with just one block every 10 minutes like Bitcoin has. No, Kaspa has one block every single second, and it's actually increasing its blocks per second. So if you increase your blocks per second, that means you're going to increase the chance to earn rewards for mining a block for miners. So this also is going to help solo mining to remain profitable. And this is like the main thing when it comes to like Bitcoin over here, is the fact that solo mining is not profitable at all. You need to use a pool to earn rewards. But when you increase block production, then that means it's going to be a higher chance that you can actually find block rewards while solo mining, and also using less powerful hardware, because there's more blocks that are going out every single second. There's going to be a higher chance for a miner to find a block, even if they're using less powerful hardware. So this is one thing that he doesn't really mention about Kaspa, has been innovating the way proof of work works to allow it to be even more decentralized than Bitcoin. And I highly suggest you read this article that was written by Nicholas, who was a former Binance employee, but he wrote How to Solve the Blockchain Trilemma of BlockDAG and Nakamoto Consensus Friendship. And this is a really, really great article. I even made a video explaining this whole entire article, kind of just summarizing it. But at the very end, he summarizes it in conclusion. BlockDAG theory as a generalization of Nakamoto consensus therefore achieves high scalability. Even more so, scalability is achieved while increasing the security of original Nakamoto consensus and maintaining its decentralization. Thus, we can say the blockchain trilemma is solved. And a lot of people still don't understand how important solving the blockchain trilemma is. Many people think that other cryptocurrencies claim to do it, but honestly, if you are proof of stake, you had pre-allocated funds to VCs, and it's basically like a company-owned cryptocurrency, then you already are failing the trilemma because you're not really that decentralized. And Kaspa is. He also says there you can argue ASICs are a good thing, which is what I'm arguing. And he says, I strongly disagree. I just do not see a world where business would want to build a network with a centralized security layer, which I already described. That is, it's not centralized security layer, and that emits so much carbon, you'll need to spend extra money to buy carbon credits. He kind of goes right back to what I was explaining, the ESG narrative concern that he has. I've already basically debunked that in my opinions and my views, that this is really not that big of a deal. Even the Bitcoin network itself, if you do the research, it literally uses way less energy than like most of the common things we use in our everyday lives, like TVs and stuff like that. So really, if you look at the facts, they really are not there for that narrative. The fifth thing he's going to get into is developers. And this is again kind of like the argument that there's no funding or grants and there's no developers that are going to come to the network because there's no smart contracts on Kaspa. And this is just a common argument that has been coming from like a lot of bigger influencers too that really don't understand what Kaspa is setting out to do. Its original mission is not smart contract system. Its original mission is an actual currency trying to be money for global payments to process transactions securely and fully decentralized and being censorship resistant. So people don't understand how much that is needed in the industry. And I think it's highly needed in this industry, especially as the free market has been valuing Kaspa higher and higher, currently valuing it at a 3 billion market cap. And then if you're looking at mining emissions, you could see that it's the number 2 best cryptocurrency for proof of work mining, which mining is a business in itself. And Kaspa is basically backed by energy and proof of work mining, which usually just makes a cryptocurrency a lot more decentralized and secure. And I believe it's the only path to take if you're trying to make a currency that's actually a form of money in the world. So ultimately, if you want to know more about my thoughts about this smart contract issue with Kaspa not having it, it's not really an issue that it doesn't have it. You could check out my video entitled, "But Kaspa Doesn't Have Smart Contracts," and I kind of describe why Kaspa needing smart contracts right now is really not that important. And as I said before, you want smart contracts to be built on a base layer that's not built with sand, but instead a solid foundation. The last concern he's going to bring up is a payments concern, asking the question, does Kaspa really need to be used for payments? And then makes the argument stablecoins are really popular. People are rather going to want to use stablecoins, and this will only be really needed if like stablecoins start to decline or something like that. But ultimately, does Kaspa really need to be used for payments? And I would argue yes, so many times, because in a world that's moving into a digital age, we are moving into digital form of money. And I'm seeing that cash is trying to be taken out of the equation. And when you take cash out of the equation and we move our financial system totally digital, that means we are entering into more control of our own money and finances. And ultimately, to be bullish on the stablecoin market, especially when the stablecoins that are mainly used are stablecoins pegged to the US dollar, I think that's something in the foreseeable future that is not going to be a great thing for most people, especially when something like Tether is able to freeze over $225 million worth of stolen USDT after DOJ investigation. Now, I get it. This frozen money is for a good reason, but this just shows that Tether is already compromised with the government and is listening to their demands. This time, they're freezing money that's for a good reason. But next time, how do you know that they're not going to be wanting to freeze money just because you have a different opinion that doesn't align correctly with what the government wants? I think you're going to want a currency that is going to be censorship resistant, and you're not going to want to be holding your cash into a stable coin that is basically pegged to a melting ice cube, especially if you've seen this famous picture showing the US dollar's devaluation over time, because simply in the government, they like to just print money infinitely. And when you look at currencies like Bitcoin or Kaspa, their main thing is the fact that their supplies are fixed and that they will never print endlessly. So that prevents things like inflation. And then also, we have countries that are experiencing hyperinflation, and Kaspa is really a hope. It's a lifeboat to those countries that are suffering with hyperinflation, where their currencies are devaluing way faster than our own US dollar. And we've actually seen that with people even tweeting things from Argentina stating something like this: I live in Argentina, and today $1 is equal to 1,000 Argentine pesos. We are in hyperinflation. Today, more than ever, Kaspa is important for the people of my country. So people don't realize that there is a huge need for something like Kaspa in the world. Yeah, it's probably hard for us to see it when we're in the US, where we're conditioned to hold a currency that's always devaluing over time. But Kaspa is a lifeboat for many people, that their currencies are devaluing even faster than what most people are used to in things like the United States. So ultimately, do we need Kaspa as a payment system? Yes, we do. And the biggest thing that I see in crypto is that when you're looking at the whole entire crypto market, no cryptocurrency in the top 100 here is really tapping into that money layer. Bitcoin was trying to do that, but it became a store of value really. But now Kaspa is really trying to tap into being an actual currency used as a form of cash. And it does this because it can scale, remain secure, and actually be very, very fast on the base layer without having to compromise its security. So ultimately, when you have faith in a lot of these other cryptocurrencies, and I like to call them crypto companies, in my opinion, you're having faith that we're going to enter into a digital prison. And I really don't want to see that for the future of the financial system. So ultimately, I think that Bitcoin, Kaspa are really good alternatives to a digital world that we're entering into, that I think a lot of people actually love these types of currencies because they're just different alternatives to their devaluating fiat currencies. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. And if you guys want to support my work here on this channel, please consider joining my Patreon so that you guys can actually get free access to all my videos before they go out live. You can also get free weekly giveaways and also talk to like-minded people like myself. So please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here. And as always, don't be average, be different.